the pictures now after the renovations were done, it's very nice. They put a lot of work, a lot of money into that house to renovate it. And we're talking repainting, new flooring, exterior, interior, the whole works. And she said I would feel very comfortable in that house, and in fact I would be interested in even buying it myself. She said I felt really comfortable in the home. So this person who did the person that I hired to go through here with had no sense of the crime, no knowledge of the case, and she went in and basically did this from a cold standpoint. Greg, do you have any comments thus far?
Yes, I got a few. So first, I would have to say that when it comes to mediums, I'm a skeptic. And that's just the way that I start off. So I'm already starting off with a bias that is leaning against the whole mediums, whatever they're saying. But I'm trying to look at this and just go by what they're saying, because there are some very interesting things here. First thing that I would want to know, if we ever got a chance to follow up with that person, would be to see if they, like, what makes them determine that the house is actually ready for new people. So I think I would kind of ask that. How does this person recognize that a house has a lonely feeling?
I think that the house is for sale. I went through there myself, and just to give you a little overview here, Greg, I'm much like you. I'd like to get someone in there to do as far as hiring a medium. I don't come from that persuasion. I don't have any feelings. I went through that house myself and felt absolutely nothing. So, but I know there's people out there wondering about these sorts of things and wanting to answer some of these questions. And I know if we brought in 2 or 3 mediums, it still wouldn't be enough of a wide sample set that people would complain that we didn't bring in 10 or we didn't bring in 15 to get a better swath. So I thought just to bring in one out of the woodwork, simply look someone up off the internet, pulled in their information, brought them over to do this on a walkthrough with the real estate agent. And so I think this is just a good foundation setting to let people know what this first impression is. Now the house is ready for sale. They've redone everything on the inside. I'm showing the photos right now. I mean, from new tile, from new. They brought in furniture for staging to help sell it. They've reduced the price a couple times on it. I didn't sense, and I didn't feel like there's anything with that home that should be preventing anyone from moving in. Now, knowing what took place in that home, I think it's going to eliminate a lot of prospective buyers anyway, because they're not going to be wanting to be interested in that. But to each his own. When the price is right, I'm sure someone will gladly move on in there.
Well, the other thing is the lingering guilt. So I know you had mentioned that maybe that was, other people that weren't in the house, but wouldn't that, I mean, I would think that would be a lingering guilt maybe coming from inside the house, and the loneliness does lead me back to the theory that, and I'm not saying that I agree with this theory or not. I'm totally just 50-50 on it, but it leads back to the theory that there was a demon, or there was some spirit, some type of presence there. Maybe all of this feeling, all that is coming from this evil presence that is there. Because just because you don't sense some evil presence, it would just be, well, they sense some presence, they sense some things there, so, I don't know. It could be evil too.
Correct. I went into it more also knowing with it that when cases like this happen, I do think that there's sometimes the spirits get hung up in between the afterlife and don't get really bring closure to anything, and the things are hung up there, whether they're good or evil or bad. Some of those don't have closure, and they're hung up kind of at the midway point, and they need to be flushed out and brought closure to bring in closure to it. Now, evil, if we're talking something with evil, demonic, satanic, things like that, that's a very different feeling altogether, where people will come into a home and really just have a heavy feeling and say, you know what, I'm not interested in continuing this. I need to leave right now. I'm very unsettled, and so this gal did not have that at all. We walked through. It was a nice afternoon day with a lot of natural light coming through. So we didn't have any feelings like that at all. But when our next guest comes on, we might get some more of that from her perspective. Some more of those questions. But I think the guilt. She did go over above to say that she noticed, she had a big feeling that there was great love in that house at one point. And then she said there's sadness and loss, and which led to loneliness currently. That also could be the fact that it's been sitting empty. But she said there's either arguments are lingering or guilt is lingering in that house. There's something in there that, and I think that she does mean in the home. And I'm sorry if I didn't explain it better. But I'm saying that the culprits here, whoever did this, I think is living with the guilt is still hanging out there for someone, whether that means they have a tough time sleeping with it or a heavy conscience. But I think we can interpret that how we want. But she said there's some guilt hanging out in the home.
Yeah, and that just to me just kind of echoed to me. It really echoed what the wife said when whatever this video shows that she was taken over by some spirit that is talking to her and telling him come to me, you have to come to my place, there's nothing left for you here. Just some really weird, strange things, but those things really just struck a strong chord with me, just on a spiritual level. It's just, there's something weird. But the creepiest thing that you mentioned is how this person said that the home needs music.
Yeah.
The home needs music. When these people died, there was music playing, right?
Yeah, and
so to me, it's just creepy. It's a little creepy.
Yeah, to let the viewers know who weren't following the case or the newer people following it now, when the bodies were discovered, the music wasn't playing, but allegedly the laptop was set up, David's laptop, with a playlist, and I think that there was, I don't know how many, 50 or 60 songs in there set to a loop, endless, forever loop, and that music was playing until the battery went dead on the Bluetooth external speaker. So I don't know how long the life of that would go to, but there would have been music playing in that house, which really it makes it strange or creepy, as you stated, that the last activity in that home after the bodies were killed was the music. The only energy in that home was the music playing.
Yeah, and that speaker was pointed right towards where those bodies were found. And right next to where that speaker was a picture of a pyramid and a couple people in it. So it's very weird stuff to me. Very strange.
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Greg, but that laptop was plugged into the outlet to the wall and actually was still playing. No music was coming out of the laptop because it was pointed to the Bluetooth speaker, which happened to be once the battery went dead on that. That's why nothing was playing. But that laptop was still in play mode, right? Correct?
That I'm not sure. I think that's a good question.
Okay.
It's a really good question.
Okay.
Because it would have to be, unless David stopped it.
Yeah, so, I think it was still playing. Nothing was coming out of the speakers because it was the audio was set to that Bluetooth, which the battery went dead, so nothing was coming out of it. But that thing was playing in a loop, and they showed a screenshot, I think, in part of the police crime photos of how many times those songs had been played, and it did. I think the math ended up that it had been running for 3 weeks straight. That auto playlist that David had running, or whoever had running, on who was on his laptop.
Yeah, but then that would have to be David created it on a certain date, right? Because those play counts would just be play counts, right?
Correct.
Or would those play counts be just for that playlist? I mean, I'm sure the cops could see when the playlist was actually made.
Yes. The playlist could have been made a month or a year in advance, but that was the playlist that was activated and playing when the police arrived. Correct.
Which is crazy. It's all crazy.
Yeah, I think the person who did the math on that playlist, they took the lowest play number count of all the songs in that playlist and used that as the common denominator and deduced back into at least a week, 21 straight days of that playing. But you're right.
Which
when
is
the bodies,
about how long? Yeah.
But the bodies were dead. When the bodies were dead and lying there, the house was empty and quiet. The only thing playing was that playlist of music, which the psychic, the hired medium, said that this house really needs music. We could play some ongoing music here for several straight days.
She didn't say what type of music.
Nope,
just be whatever the
didn't go
new
on to
family.
some music. I think whatever would be something that'd be good or uplifting or happy, but just music, any kind of music in general. She said would get the energy back flowing again because she spoke to it as almost being the energy kind of fell dormant in the house, and once you get some music playing, it would activate and get some of the energy going back in the house again. And it didn't really say what type of music, but just music in general is the vibe I got.
Okay.